the second time this week, a black man is shot by a police officer. An amateur video allowed the world to react to the case as the investigation into what happened just gets underway. This time, a man pulled over in Minnesota was shot and killed in his car. And as he lay dying, his fiancée picked up her cell phone to document the immediate aftermath. Correspondent Mike Tobin reports on this case tonight from Minneapolis. But we want to warn you here that some of the video in this report is disturbing.
The final moments of a man's life live streamed on Facebook. We first see 32-year-old Philando Castile clinging to life, blood soaking his shirt as he takes his last breaths in the driver's seat of a car.
Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead. Please don't tell me my boyfriend just went like that.
The victim and his fiancée, Diamond Reynolds, in the car with Reynolds' young daughter in the back seat. Reynolds claimed they were pulled over for a broken taillight. The police officer asked Castile for his ID. Castile told the officer he had a permit to carry and had a pistol on him. According to Reynolds, he told the officer he was reaching down for his ID, not the gun. Reynolds calmed the officer in a panic as he offers the only explanation we've heard yet for the shooting.
Told him not to reach for it. I told him to get his hand out.
You told him to get his ID, sir, and his driver's license.
After Reynolds is cuffed and loaded into the backseat of a police cruiser, the heartbreaking voice of a little girl who saw everything is heard trying to comfort Reynolds.
It's okay, Mommy.
I can't believe they just did this.
It's okay, I'm right here with you.
Minnesota Governor Mark Dayton spoke with White House officials and said the Department of Justice is investigating. The governor seems sympathetic with the outraged demonstrators gathering at the mansion.
Would this have happened if those passengers, the driver and the passengers, were white? I don't think it would have. So I'm forced to confront it. I think all of us in Minnesota are forced to confront that this kind of racism exists.
Reynolds said she didn't help Castile because she was afraid she would be shot. Instead, she put him up live on Facebook.
So that the people could see. I wanted the people to determine who was right and who was wrong. I want the people to be the testimonies here. All of us saw with our eyes. Only thing you guys didn't see is when he shot.
Most people believe that the reason why African Americans are being killed in America by the American Police Department is because those police officers are racist. That's not true. The police officers who are killing African Americans, those police officers are not racist. They are not. They are not killing African Americans just because African Americans are black. This is exactly what politicians and most so-called intellectuals who don't really understand why African Americans are being killed. That's what they want you to believe. They want you to believe that African Americans are being killed because they are black. It has nothing whatsoever to do with the race of those African Americans. They are not being shot to death because they are African Americans. What's going on is that this is a spiritual issue. This has nothing to do with race. This has nothing to do with class. It's a spiritual issue. So there was a black man that was that was shot in Florida. He was already on the ground with his hands up. He was laying on the ground and he has his two hands up, and the police officer still shot him. So the police officer shot him, and the guy asked the police officer and was like, "Why did you shoot me? Why did you shoot me?" And the police officer says, "I don't know. I don't know why I shot you."
New video this morning shows the moments leading up to the police shooting of an unarmed black man in Florida. The mental health worker is shown with his hands up next to a patient. He was in the street trying to retrieve an autistic man who wandered away from a group home. The shooting victim survived. Benita Nair is in our New York studio with his account of how the encounter unfolded. Benita, good morning.
Good morning. North Miami police told CBS News they received a 911 call Monday about an armed man who was threatening suicide. But instead, they encountered an autistic man and his caretaker, Charles Kinsey. Kinsey was shot. Yesterday, he shared his story from his hospital bed. Lying in the middle of a North Miami street, Charles Kinsey tried to coax an autistic man back to a mental health center.
I was really more worried about him than myself.
You can hear Kinsey, a counselor, advising his patient. The young man in his 20s sat cross-legged while holding a white toy truck. Kinsey was unarmed, yet instinctively he kept his hands in the air.
As long as I got my hands up, they're not going to shoot me. This is what I'm thinking. They're not going to shoot me. Wow, was I wrong?
Kinsey said he heard 2 gunshots. He was hit once in his right leg.
I'm like, I still got my hands in the air. I say, no, I just got shot.
He really feels like he did everything that he could possibly do to cooperate.
Hilton Napoleon is Kinsey's attorney.
There's no justification for shooting an unarmed person who's talking to you and telling you that they don't have a gun and that they're a mental health counselor.
A second amateur video shows the aftermath as officers with long guns searched both men.
They cuffed my hands and they flipped me over. And I'm saying to him, I'm like, sir, why did you shoot me? And his words to me, he said, I don't know.
The North Miami Police Department told the Miami Herald they were attempting to negotiate with the 2 men when one of the responding officers discharged his weapon. He has been placed on administrative leave. The investigation has been turned over to the state attorney's office. Nora?
Those police officers are not racist. Like as I said, this is a spiritual issue. And it's not going to end anytime soon. It's a spiritual issue. Those white people who are killing African Americans, they don't even know what they're doing. And I will explain to you why I say that they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. They're not doing this on purpose. They're not literally walking around saying, I'm going to go kill black people. There's a reason for that. And it's a spiritual, it has a spiritual aspect to it. It's not a physical issue. So if you're looking at it from a physical perspective, you're going to think, oh, they're racist. They're not racist, okay? That's why you see African American being gunned down, even when they are running away. Even when they are running away. The other day, one of them got out from a car and took off, and he was shot to death. All the time, you hear this thing. You hear them running away, and they will still be shot. So it has nothing to do with safety. It's not about the safety of those police officers. It's not because they feared for their life. That's not true. Because if you're fearing for your life, why the hell are you going to shoot somebody running away? They're already running away from you. They're not charging at you. They're not coming at you to hit you or take your gun and shoot you. They are running away, and they still get shot in the back and get killed. Again, it has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with safety. It's a spiritual issue. The reason why it's happening is because the African Americans, the so-called African Americans, are the descendants of the ancient Israelites. The ancient Israelites that you read in the Bible. I know you're thinking, I know what you're thinking. I know you're thinking that this guy is a religious nut. Oh no, he's a religious nut. No, I am not a Christian. I am not a Christian. I don't belong to any religious organization. I am not a Christian. I am not a Muslim. I have no intention whatsoever of joining any religious organization. I do not affiliate with any religious organization. Okay? This is not a religious presentation. I don't belong to any religious organization, but at the same time, I understand what's going on. What's going on is because the African Americans are the ancient Israelites that you read about in the scriptures. Okay, what happened was that they made a covenant with God after they were delivered from Egypt. Like they were in Egypt, the things that they were going through in America today is the same thing that they went through in Egypt. You read this in Exodus, in the beginning of Exodus, you see the same thing going on. How they were being killed, how they were being abused, how they were, all the stuff that they're going through in America today. They were going through this in Egypt, and God delivered them from Egypt and took them to a promised land, to their land in Israel. And they made a covenant with God before that. The part of the covenant is that they have to keep all the laws and the commandment of God. And if they don't keep the laws and the commandment, they will be kicked out of their land. Well, they broke those laws and the commandment, and they were kicked out of their land. You will read more about this in Deuteronomy chapter 28. Deuteronomy 28, you will read about this. So they were kicked out of their land. As of the time of Christ, during the time of Christ, the real Israelites were still living in their land. Those people who are living over there right now, those white people who are living there, they are Gentiles. They are not the real Hebrew Israelites. And some of them will even admit to you, Look it up on YouTube. Some of them, you see videos where they are saying that they are not the Israelite, that the African Americans are the Israelites.
Are you for the real return of the real children of Israel?
We believe that all Israel need to be returned to the Palestinians.
Do you know that the black man in America is Israel? That he's Jews? Do you know that?
Yes. Yes.
Hi, Shalom from Israel. This is Ola, the daughter of Jethro. And I just heard that you black people that was stolen from Africa to America, that you don't know who you are. But you are the children of Yahweh, the children of Israel. And I'm telling you, you have to come back to your homeland, here to Zion, to Jerusalem, because us the Gentiles, we do need you. We need you to come and pray, because you are our saviors. You're the one that was chosen by Yahweh to live in this land, not the Jewish people, it's you. You were stolen from Africa, they deceived you, they told you that you are slaves, but you actually the children of Israel. And it's time just to come back. Come for your people, come back for us, come back for the whole Gentiles, because only you gonna save us. So please come back to Zion.
Israelite. So as of the time of Christ, the ancient Israelites were still living in Jerusalem as of the time of Christ. But if you read in Luke chapter 21, you will see where Christ was describing how the Israelites are going to be kicked out of their land. That was a future prophecy as of the time of Christ. So after Christ left, about 30-something years after he went back to heaven, the Romans came, just like Christ predicted. The Romans came in 70 AD. This is a secular history. What I'm telling you right now, it's not found anywhere in the Bible. If you go and study the Roman invasion of Jerusalem in 70 AD, you will see what I'm saying. So in 70 AD, the Romans came into Jerusalem and kicked out the Israelites. They destroyed their temple and kicked them out. And the Israelites went and migrated towards Africa. Some of them went towards Southern Africa and settled around Zimbabwe.
I want to find out how these people seem to have Jewish customs. Samuel Moeti is president of the Lemba Cultural Association.
Pleasure. So, I'll be honest, I came into this village and the first word I heard was shalom,
yes.
The Hebrew word.
Yes.
How is that possible? How is it that the Lemba are speaking Hebrew?
The Lembas are the original Hebrews, and they were scattered, as you know, and they crossed into Africa. So they were scattered all over. So in South Africa, in many parts of South Africa, you find the Lembas who are actually Hebrews.
Hebrew. So the Lembas claim to be descendants of ancient Israelites?
Not claim, they are.
They are?
They are.
Okay.
We are the original African Hebrew. We are scattered all over.
Can you give me a few examples of some of the Jewish
Yes,
traditions?
we don't partake of pork.
Okay.
We don't mix milk with meat.
It sounds to me like the Lemba have a unique culture surrounded by others who do not practice the same way.
That is correct. We always believe that the Jewish people who live all over the world are our brothers because we come from the same root.
Could it be that the Lemba are a lost tribe of Israel? To answer, perhaps the Lemba's oral history, handed down over the generations, can help us make a connection to the lost tribes of Israel. The Lemba's story goes like this. Thousands of years ago, they were forced out of Israel and settled in a place called Senna, which is believed to be the present-day Yemen. There, they lived as traders and craftsmen until war or natural disaster pushed them across the Red Sea and into Africa. Then began a slow migration south. Along the way, according to the Lemba, they built great stone cities. It's a claim that's fascinating. Himmler is convinced that Lemba ancestors did indeed come from the Middle East. It's hard to believe that these people, who to the casual observer look just like the other African communities they live among, actually do have DNA passed down from Middle Eastern forefathers. This proves that when it comes to race, looks really can be deceiving. This annual festival is a chance for the oral history and traditional songs of the Lemba to be passed on to the next generation. This song tells the story of the Lemba's journey all the way from Israel to South Africa. Having traced this journey, I'm eager to hear what Samuel Moeti thinks about the DNA evidence.
So the genetic testing actually proved to the doubters what you and your forefathers have been saying for generations. That must be exciting news.
It is.
I'll be honest, I hadn't heard of the Lemba. I knew very little about the people. But having spent time making the journey from Jerusalem down through Zimbabwe, having spent time here at this festival, seeing what your people are all about, I can only sum it up in one word, and it's shalom.
Shalom.
We've seen how science has backed up the claims of the Lemba in the face of years of doubt and prejudice. The archaeological clues, the DNA evidence, and the Lemba's own oral history add up to a very convincing argument. It reminds me that first impressions can often be misleading. It was hard to believe that a tribe of black Africans could be the descendants of ancient Israelites. But that's exactly what they appeared to be.
Brothers and sisters, they are there. We are not lost. We are scattered. We are original Hebrew.
Some of them went towards Western Africa and settled around where Nigeria is today, the land of Nigeria today, Nigeria that you hear about. Many of the people, the Israelites went and settled over there. Before that time, as of that time, there was no Nigeria. They went and settled there, and that's where they live till this day. They are known as the Igbo people. So if you are an African American, some of your people are living over there in Nigeria right now, the Igbo people.
That's what they said that day. Now, if most of us do a DNA test right now, we'll trace our lineage back to West Africa. This is a fact. I'm from the Igbo tribe, Nigeria. Over 75% of my blood.
They are living over there right now. So you are the descendant of the ancient Israelite if you are an African American. So when the African Americans, when the Israelites went and settled in Western Africa, the white men came over there and took them as slaves and brought them to America. And that's why you are in America today. And this is all part of the causes of Deuteronomy chapter 28, because God says that if the Israelites refuse to keep his commandment, there are curses that he put upon them. If they keep his commandment, there are blessings that he put upon them. So the reason why you are in America today, if you're an African American, of course you already know that your ancestors was brought in as slaves. That's because you are the ancient Israelite. You are the descendant of the ancient Israelite. There is no other group of people in the face of the planet right now that fit the description that was written in Deuteronomy chapter 28. Only the so-called African Americans fit that description, and some of those people who are living over there in Nigeria. Because if you go to Nigeria right now, in Nigeria, in Igbo land, the Igbo people who are living in Nigeria, they are being ruled by other people. They are being oppressed by other people. They are being killed by other people. The Fulanis, the Muslims from Fulani, from Niger, from Chad, they came over to Nigeria and they are ruling the Igbo people. Just like you're being ruled in America by white people. And you are at the bottom. They are on top of you. You are the bottom of the society. They are at the top. They are running everything. They are controlling everything. They are running everything. This is all part of the course of Deuteronomy chapter 28. Same thing is happening to your people in Nigeria, the Igbo people. Same thing is happening to your people in Southern Africa, over there in South Africa, with the apartheid and all those stuff going on over there. The white people went over there and started were ruling over them. They're still ruling over them over there. They're still controlling them. They're ruling over them. So you see that everywhere the Israelites are, they are always at the bottom. They are always at the poverty. They are always suffering. They are always on the street. They are always homeless. They are always suffering. These are all the causes of Deuteronomy chapter 28. Please read Deuteronomy chapter 28 yourself and you will see what I'm talking about. If you don't have a Bible, use your phone and Google it. Google Deuteronomy chapter 28. You will see all the causes that was put up there, that was put there, that was written down. The African Americans are the only people that fit that description. Today, there's no other nation, even the so-called Israelites. They don't even fit the causes of Deuteronomy chapter 28. Why? Because they are running the stock market. They own all the media organization. Most of the media organization. They are ruling the world right now. They are controlling the Congress. Most congressmen and women, most senators, they are all Jews. But they don't fit that description because God said that the Jews, the Israelites will be at the bottom of the society. Other people will rule over them. Other people will control them. They will be fearing for their lives day and night. They will be killed by their oppressors. They will be oppressed by their oppressors. They will be ruled over by their oppressor. That's exactly what's going on to you today in America. So what about color? What about the color of the Israelite? What about the color of the skin of the Israelite? Like you've known all your life. You've been told that Jesus was white. All the apostles was white. Moses was white. But that's not true. According to the Bible, that's not true whatsoever. Let me give you an example. If you are familiar with the Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians, the Egyptians that you read about in the Bible, they are not white people. They are dark skinned. How do we know? By their mummies, the dead bodies, the mummies. You know, usually they preserve their dead and they last for thousands of years. Well, according to the mummies, the dead bodies of the Egyptians that are being discovered these days, we can see that they are black people. They are not white. They are black people. The people living over there right now in Egypt, they are not the real Egyptians. The people living over there right now are Arabs. They are Arabs. They are Muslims. They are Arabs. The ancient Egyptians were not white. The ancient Egyptians were not Muslims. They were not Arabs. They were Egyptians and they worship pagan gods. So, but if you look in the New Testament, if you look in the Bible, you will see that Paul the apostle was mistaken as an Egyptian in Acts of Apostles. If you read in the book of Acts, you will see that in Acts chapter 21, Paul was mistaken as an Egyptian by a Roman soldier that says, hey, are you not that Egyptian that led a rebellion? Paul was like, no, I am an Israelite. So, and then if you go in the Old Testament, in Exodus chapter 1, Exodus chapter 2, you will see that Moses was also mistaken as an Egyptian. If Moses was a white man, if Paul was a white man, there's no way they will be mistaken as an Egyptian, because the Egyptians are not white. The Egyptians are black. So that's how we know that even in the Old Testament and in the New Testament, the people that are described there as the Israelites, they were not white. They were not Europeans. They were black people. But the reason why you don't know who you are today is because it's been so long. The Israelites were scattered all over the world. They went into slavery and they forgot who they are. And they adopted the customs and the traditions of other people. They lost track of their identity, just like it says in Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 4. The Israelites forgot who they are. That's why you don't know who you are right now. So they forgot who they are, and the Europeans who are living in Israel right now started claiming to be the Jews, and the whole world believed that. But that's not true. So the real Israelites that was described in the Old Testament and in the New Testament, they were black people. They were not white people. And we see this from the Old and the New Testament. So that's one of the way that we know the people that are living over there right now, they are imposters. They are not the real Jews. And the African Americans or the Igbo people or the black people, they are the real Asian Israelite described in the scriptures. And that's how we know, because there are clues in the Old and the New Testament that shows that the Israelites were not white. They were black people. Okay. All the stuff, all the sufferings, all the pains and all the sufferings you're going through in America today, that's the causes of Deuteronomy chapter 28. That is the reason why you're being killed. That's why those white police officers are killing you. You see, those police officers are not out to protect you. The police officers in America are not out to protect you or to guide you. No, they are out to oppress you. They are out to keep watch over you, to keep you under control and to guide you. They are nothing but a police officer for your oppressor. They are working for your oppressor, for the system that is keeping you down. Just like if you read in when the Israelites was in slavery in Egypt, you know, they went through the same thing that you're going through today in America. So those police officers, they are not racist. They are simply carrying out the things that they're supposed to carry out. If you read Deuteronomy chapter 28, they are your enemies. They are your oppressors. White people are not your friend. White people will never be your friend. They are your oppressors. they are described in Deuteronomy chapter 28 as your oppressors.
I want every white person in this room who would be happy to be treated as this society in general treats our citizens, our black citizens. If you, as a white person, would be happy to receive the same treatment that our black citizens do in this society, please stand. You didn't understand the directions. If you white folks want to be treated the way blacks are in this society, stand. Nobody's standing here. That says very plainly that you know what's happening. You know you don't want it for you. I want to know why you're so willing to accept it or to allow it to happen for others.
So you have to understand that that's why this is happening. They are not, African Americans are not being killed because they are black or because of their race. They're being killed because they are under a curse. They are under a curse of Deuteronomy chapter 28. They're not just being killed. They're going through all these terrible things that they're going through. Their women are being raped. They're going through all these things. It's not a physical issue. It's not a race issue. It's a spiritual issue because you are the descendant of the ancient Israelite. The reason why you don't know who you are, if you're an African American, the reason why you don't know who you are is because it's been so long. You've forgotten who you are. And your oppressor, the white people, your oppressor, they don't even want you to know who you are. They don't teach this in the schools. They don't teach this. If you read Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 4, you will see that God said that you will lose contact with your heritage. You will discontinue from your heritage. Simply means that you will forget who you are. It's been so long, you forgot who you are. Now you think you are black. You think you're African American. You don't know who you are anymore because it's been so long. Read it. Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 4. And even in Deuteronomy, God said that because your ancestors was worshiping idol, because your ancestors was worshiping other gods, that God said that he would choose other people. Temporary. He would choose other people and put them over there. And, so those people over there who are claiming to be the Jews, they are liars. They are not even the Jews because they don't fit the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28. The so-called African Americans and the Igbo people in Nigeria and those who are in the Southern Africa, they are those that fit the description. But the Israelite has been scattered in the four corners of the earth. That's why when you go to Jamaica, you see them. When you go to Haiti, you see them. When you go to Panama, you see them. Any corner of anywhere you go in the world, you see the Israelites, the so-called black people. But they are always at the bottom. They are always suffering. They are always going through these things because they are under a curse of Deuteronomy chapter 28. But eventually, God said that he will gather the Israelites. He's going to gather the Israelites from the four corners of the earth and take them back to their land. But you know what? Among the Israelites that will be gathered, only 33.4% of the Israelites will be saved, will be gathered. 66.6% of the Israelites are going to be destroyed. If you read in Amos chapter 9 verse 10, you will see what God said. He said that the sinners, the rebellious people, the sinners, the lawbreakers among his people will be destroyed. So more than half of the Israelites are going to be destroyed. Why? Because they refuse to keep the commandment. The people who will be gathered when Christ comes back. When Christ comes back, he's going to gather the Israelites. But those who will be gathered are those who are keeping the laws and the commandments in the scriptures. That is why it's so important to go back and start keeping the laws and the commandments in the scriptures. You got to keep the laws and the commandments. That is the only way you're going to be delivered from this captivity. You're not going to be delivered from praying. You're not going to be able to pray your way out of this. You cannot pray your way out because in Proverbs chapter 28 verse 9, he said that the prayer of a sinner is an abomination to God. The prayer of anyone who is breaking the laws and the commandments of God, their prayer cannot get to heaven. So you can pray all you want. You're never going to be delivered from this captivity from praying. Praying will not save you. Okay? In John chapter 9 verse 31, it says that God answers the prayers of those that keep his commandments, that do his will. So you cannot pray your way out of this. The only way you're going to be saved out of this captivity is to go back and start keeping the laws and the commandment. And you cannot vote your way out. Voting will not deliver you from this. You can go and vote all you want. They will continue to kill you. They will continue to oppress you and continue to murder you. Voting cannot save you from this captivity. Protest. You cannot protest your way out of this. You can go and do a 1 billion man march. I know they do a 1 million man march. You can go and do 1 billion man march. You can march from California to Washington, D.C. You can march from New Orleans to Washington, D.C. You can march from Chicago to Washington, D.C. You're wasting your time. Marching will not save you out of this. Protesting will not save you out of this captivity. The only thing that will save you is to go back and start keeping the laws and the commandments in the scriptures. That's the only way you're going to be delivered out of this captivity. Just like your brethren, Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, when they were in captivity in Babylon, the only way they were delivered is because they went back and they started keeping the laws and the commandments in this book. You got to realize who you are and wake the hell up, and you realize that this is not going to stop. They're not going to stop killing you. They will continue to kill you, rape you, murder you, rob you until you start keeping the laws and the commandments in the scriptures, because they are your oppressors. Those police officers are not out to protect you or to guide you. They are criminals. Police officers are criminals. They are all gang members. They are gang members with badges and with guns. That's what they are. They are all the same. There's no police officer who is good. None of them are good. They're all corrupt. They are all they are all criminals. American police officers, they are all corrupt. They are all criminals. They are all gang members. They are not out to protect you. They are not out to serve you. They're not there to protect you. They are there to oppress you. They're there to kill you and to murder you. They don't even know what they're doing. They're not killing you because you're black. They're killing you because they are your oppressors. You are the slave. They are the slave masters. You are at the bottom. They are at the top. They are oppressing you because you are under a curse. The curse is described in Deuteronomy chapter 18. So American police officers, they are all the same. That's why you see them. They never come out and condemn their colleagues. Whenever a police officer shoots and kills a black man, you never see other police officers coming out and protesting and saying, wait, this is not right. They never condemn their colleagues. They all keep quiet. Why? Because they are all the same. They are all cowards. They are all criminal. They are cowards. They are raping your women. They are murdering you. They are abusing you. They are doing all these things, and you should not feel sorry whenever they get killed. Whenever you hear that a police officer gets shot to death, don't feel sorry for them, because they are your oppressor. They are your oppressor. I don't feel bad when they get killed. I don't feel bad like when the brother, Micah Johnson, shot and killed 5 police officers in Dallas. I didn't feel bad. Why will I feel bad? I don't feel bad. They are my enemies. I don't feel safe around police officers. Actually, I feel in danger whenever I see a police officer. I don't feel safe because they can kill me anytime. They can kill you anytime because of the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28. And the only way to get delivered, the only way to be protected, the only way to come out of this thing is to start keeping the laws and the commandments in the scriptures. And they will continue to kill you. So you got to understand, when a police officer gets killed, I don't feel bad because they are my oppressor. I feel happy when they get killed. I feel happy because my oppressor just got killed. But again, you cannot protest your way out, and you cannot... Listen. When I heard that Micah Johnson killed 5 police officers in Dallas, Texas, when I heard that, I was happy. I was happy when I heard that. But I also realized that you're not going to shoot your way out of this. You can't shoot your way out of this. The more you kill them, the more they kill you, because they were sent by your creator to hold you as captives. You have to realize this is a spiritual thing. So going and killing police officers, it's not the answer. Going and killing police officers, it's not the way. It's not the way to come out of this thing. Killing police officers will not deliver you from this. Fighting back will not deliver you from this. The only way you're going to come out of this slavery is to start keeping the laws and the commandments in the scriptures. So in as much as I'm happy for what Micah Johnson did, I realize that that's not the solution. Praying will not save you. Marching will not save you. Rioting will not save you. Voting will not save you. Killing police officers will not save you. The only way to come out of this captivity is to go back and start keeping the laws and the commandments in this scripture. And stop deluding yourself. Stop deceiving yourself. Stop lying yourself and thinking that slavery is over. Slavery is not over. The captivity is over, but you're still under oppression. They are still oppressing you, because as long as you are in their land, they will continue to kill you. They will continue to murder you. They will continue to rape your women. They will continue to do all these things to you as long as you're in their land. So you got to get out of their land. You have to get out of America. You need to leave. It's time to leave America. Why do I say that? Because America is going to be destroyed. America is literally going to be destroyed. America is going to be destroyed with a nuclear weapon. America is going to be destroyed very soon. It's going to burn. It's going to burn down very soon. If you read Revelation chapter 18, you will see what I'm talking about. America is the nation that is described in Revelation chapter 18.
First of all, let me show you the most compelling piece of evidence that Revelation 18 is dealing with the United States of America. Go down, if you would, to verse number 11. This is talking about the destruction of Babylon, and it says, "And the merchants of the earth," merchants are people who sell things, "the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore." Now, what place could be destroyed in 2013 where it would be said, wow, because this place was destroyed, no man buyeth our merchandise anymore? I mean, think about it. The United States is the one who consumes the vast majority of the goods that are produced by the world. And if the United States were destroyed, people would literally say, who are we going to sell all this junk to? You know, this Walmart-bound, made-in-China junk. I mean, every single day there are gigantic ships coming from China just bringing just masses of merchandise. Who's ever been to the Long Beach Harbor or the LA Harbor and seen those ships coming in from the Pacific? Isn't it an amazing sight? I mean, it's unbelievable. I took a wrong turn. I didn't even mean to go there. I accidentally took a wrong turn. And I was just blown away by the sight of these gigantic ships just stacked. And look, they look like little Legos, but each one of those little blocks is a train car full of merchandise. I mean, just stacked up so high. I mean, it's an unbelievable amount of merchandise that's just constantly coming in. And that's probably the most compelling piece of evidence. But if you think about it, it makes perfect sense. Because where is the world government right now, the embryonic world government that will eventually become, you know, the kingdom of the Antichrist and so forth? Where is the world government, the United Nations, based? In the United States. I mean, it is based in the United States. And really, if anybody has a world empire right now, it's the United States of America. Because the definition of empire throughout history is when we have our military bases in every country in the world, that's our empire. Okay, and we have the world government located within our borders, and we run it, we finance it, we call the shots. I mean, we are the lone superpower. I mean, it used to be what was called, you know, the two superpower model of the USSR and the United States. But then after that became a new world order where there was one superpower, the United States of America, and that's where we're at. I mean, that's what we live in.
All the empires that has ever existed has always been described in the Bible prophecy. So today, America is the nation that is described in Revelation chapter 18, and you have to read it to understand what I'm saying. If you have not read Revelation chapter 18, you would not know what I'm talking about. But when you read Revelation chapter 18, you're going to be like, wait a minute, this is true. That's true. You will see that America is the only nation that fits that description. And America is the world's last empire. There has been a lot of empires that have come and gone. No empire lasts forever. America is the latest empire right now in the world. And according to America is the last empire that will exist. America will be destroyed with a nuclear weapon very, very soon. Read it yourself. Revelation chapter 18. And then in Revelation chapter 17, verse 17, Revelation chapter 17, verse 16 and verse 17, you will see that it describes that God will put it in the heart of those that will destroy her with fire. But America is going to be destroyed. In Revelation chapter 18, verse 4, it says, "Come out of her, my people. come out of her, lest you partake in her sin and be destroyed with her. You have to get out of America. You can go towards Africa, you can go to Asia, you can go to South America, but don't go to Europe, because most countries in Europe are also going to be destroyed. They're already being destroyed right now because the Muslims are taking over. The Muslims are invading them right now over there in Europe, in Germany, in France, and all those in Sweden. They are being destroyed right now, but eventually they're going to be destroyed with a nuclear weapon too. Most countries in the world are going to be destroyed with a nuclear weapon. Go and read Isaiah chapter 24. If you read Isaiah chapter 24 from verse 1 to 9, you will see what I'm saying. In Amos chapter 5, Amos chapter 9 verse 5, you will see what I'm saying. So a lot of countries are going to be destroyed with a nuclear weapon, but you are an Israelite and you have to realize that. You need to wake up and get out of America. You need to start keeping the laws and the commandments in the scriptures. If not, you're going to be destroyed too, because this is very, very important to understand that what's going on has nothing to do with race. What's going on is a spiritual issue. And once you realize this and you go back and start keeping the laws and the commandments, this will not stop. They will continue to kill you. They will continue to oppress you. This is why when you go on the street, most of this, go on the street, you see that most homeless people on the street are African Americans, the so-called African Americans. You see old men and women languishing on the street, rotting to pieces on the street, suffering on the street as homeless people, while America is giving billions and billions of dollars to other countries. Why can't they take care of the people on the street? That's because of the causes of Deuteronomy chapter 28. If they really, really care about you, they will take care of your old men and women on the street. America has enough money to give for free to other countries. Why aren't they taking care of the African Americans on the street? That's because of the cause of Deuteronomy chapter 28. So I know you might think I'm crazy. I know you might think that this is ridiculous. It's just the truth. It's the fact. You're not going to hear this from them, because you are under a curse of Deuteronomy chapter 28. And until you go back and start keeping those laws and the commandments, they will continue to kill you. They will continue to murder you, because that's what this is all about. This is a curse. The Israelites are under a curse. Until you realize who you are, they will continue to kill you. You have to go back and keep those laws. Even Christ, if you read in Matthew chapter 5, verse 17 to verse 19, you will see that Christ commanded that we must keep every single laws and the commandment in the Old Testament. In Matthew chapter 23, verse 1 to 3, he commanded his apostles and those listening to him that they must keep every single law and the commandment in the Old Testament. In Matthew chapter 7, verse 21 to 23, Christ commanded that, he said that when he comes back, the people that he will save, he will gather, are those that kept the laws and the commandments written in the Old Testament. In Revelation chapter 22, verse 14, you will see that Christ said that those who will be allowed into the kingdom of heaven are those that kept all the laws and the commandments in the Old Testament. I can go on and on and on and on and on. In Romans chapter 2, verse 13, Paul said that not the hearers of the law are just, but the doers of the law. Those who are keeping the law, they are the ones that will be justified on the judgment day. That is why it's so important. If you read in Romans chapter 11, you will read about the Israelites. You got to go back and start keeping the laws and the commandments in the scriptures. You need to read Deuteronomy chapter 28. You need to read Leviticus chapter 26 and Luke chapter 21. And then you can study some history books. You will see that African Americans, the so-called African Americans, are the only people that fit the description described in the scriptures. You got to go back and start keeping the laws and the commandments. That's why this is happening. Until then, they will keep on killing you. They will keep on they will keep on oppressing you and killing you. You have to wake up and realize who you are. If you are an African American, you have to realize that you are the Israelite. You have to go back and start keeping the laws and the commandments. If you need more information about this and other subjects, you need then look through our channel. I have other presentation. I have other videos and presentation about this. You need to start keeping the laws and the commandments. Stop shaving your beard. You are an Israelite. An Israelite is supposed to grow their beard. You need to stop shaving your beard. You need to start keeping the Sabbath. The Sabbath is regulated by the moon. The Sabbath is not on, we were commanded to work for 6 days and rest on the 7th day. The Sabbath is not on Sunday, and the Sabbath is not on Saturday. It's not on Sunday and it's not on Saturday. The Sabbath is regulated by the moon. It's called the lunar Sabbath. The Sabbath that the Israelites kept in the Bible, the Israelites in the Bible was using the moon as their calendar. If you read 1 Samuel chapter 20, you will see what I'm talking about in 1 Samuel chapter 20. So when our Creator told us to keep the Sabbath, He told us to keep it according to the moon. If you read Genesis chapter 1 verse 14, Psalm 104 verse 19, Ezekiel chapter 46 verse 1 to 3, Isaiah chapter 66 verse 22 and verse 23. Even in the New Testament, if you read in Colossians chapter 2 verse 16, if you read Colossians chapter 2 verse 1 to verse 16, you will see that the early followers of Christ, they were using the moon as their calendar and they were keeping the new moon days. So you need to start keeping the Sabbath. The Sabbath is very important to the Israelites. It's important that you start keeping the Sabbath, work for 6 days and rest on the 7th day. Start keeping the Sabbath. Look through our channel. I have some presentations about that. You know, so if you are a woman, if you're an African American woman, stop dressing like a prostitute. Stop wearing those tight skirt and tight pant and tight this and tight that and walking around naked with, half naked. You need to cover yourself. You need to dress moderately like a woman of Israel. A woman of Israel is not supposed to be walking around naked. You're supposed to dress up, cover yourself. That's the way you're supposed to dress. You're not supposed to be walking around naked, wearing all those damn tight pants and tights, trying to expose your body. You're not supposed to be doing that. That's what the Gentiles are doing. You're supposed to dress moderately. That's all part of keeping the laws and the commandments. You have to realize who you are and go back and start keeping the laws and the commandments. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. You can go ahead and subscribe to our channel. I'm going to be uploading more information like this. If you have any question or any comment, feel free to comment below the video. And subscribe to channel so that you'll be able to get notified or even look around our channel and see other presentations that we have. I thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope that you will really go and study this out yourself and realize what's going on. The reason why the African Americans are being killed is because they are the descendant of the ancient Israelites. And until you go back and start keeping those laws and commandments, they will continue to kill you. They will continue to murder you. And you have to realize that any Israelite that refuse, that those that don't keep the laws and the commandments, they will not be delivered. They will not be saved. Only those that keep the laws and the commandments, they are the people that will be saved when Christ comes back. I thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope that this will be a way for you to continue studying this particular subject. Until next time, thank you so much, and remember,